What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be looking at something that's very interesting that happened over the weekend. So there was a tournament in Japan hosted by Liberty Note, and we have some of their top results here. And what's really interesting is the first place team, where they featured a very unique Hydreigon set, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But in case you don't know, Liberty Note, let me just go to the website here. Liberty Note is Japan's #1 resource for tournament stuff, you know, rental teams, almost like their Victory Road website for us, right? So if you don't know this website, I'll put it in the video description below. But again, it's another resource that you can use where you can find tournament information as far as like what's going on overseas, see what all the Japanese players are using, and see like their top cut results. They also have team reports. You do have to translate the page into English. Of course, you can just do that with a simple right-click button. But it's got all kinds of useful information that you want to do and use for your own team building or for your own ladder experiences. If you need a rental team, if you want to try something from Japan, this is a very good website to use. So shout outs to Liberty Note for always providing up-to-date data and for stuff that goes on overseas, right? So without further ado, again, let's go back to the tournament here. So this is just an image on a bigger screen. The top cut team that you see over here, basically a lot of Dondozo, which we'll analyze in another video later today. 1, 2, 3, 5 top cut Dondozo teams. Very interesting yet standard, not surprising, right? Dondozo is very strong. I love the Palanquin Ring team, by the way. We just put out a rental for that too. But what's more interesting and the focus of the video is this Hydreigon Murkrow Goldango team, and it looks very standard, right? With like, okay, you got the 4 homies, and then you have just Amoonguss and then Maushold. Like, what's so special about that? What's special is the set that the Hydreigon was running. All right, so let's look at the Pokepace. They were very nice to provide it. Sasimu Mimo. I'm going to assume I said that name right. If not, I apologize. But this is the set. It was Focus Energy with ScopeLens Hydreigon. Whew. And you're like, what? Why? So the idea with ScopeLens Hydreigon now, and especially after Focus Energy, is you're able to basically just crit through everything, right? You can crit your Draco Meteors, you can even crit Heat Waves, and then what's really good about this is that, you just go through Dondozo stuff. And not only Dondozo, but you can go through screens as well. Because, if you remember like Urshifu back in Sword and Shield, or screens and Intimidate, they didn't really matter. You just crit right through it, right? And the same concept applies to Hydreigon here. So if you're able to just get off a Focus Energy, then you can just crit through the Dondozo buffs and then just remove it from the game. And then you're in such a commanding spot, right? And you have lots of ways to set it up here. You have Amoonguss redirection, with Rage Powder. You even have Maushold redirection with Follow Me, right? So you have 2 redirectors on the team that can set it up. And then the rest of the team is relatively standard. Garchomp, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Sword Stance, Life Orb set, of course, Max Speed, Jolly, and then the rest just pretty much just went into the attack set right here, the 3rd EV bump, and then just a little bit of leftover bulk. Very standard. The Goldango is very bulky, of course. Again, 3rd EV bump in the Modest Nature, and it's got some HP bulk here along with a little bit of speed, so that's always really nice. And it's a very standard set with Make It Rain, Shadow Claw, Nasty Plot, and Protect, right? And it's good recovery with the Berry, by the way. So yeah, and then the Murkrow, of course, you're gonna have Haze, you're gonna have Tailwind, you're gonna have Foul Play. Those are relatively standard, and it's a bold set. So it is holding the Eviolite. Interesting that there is no Sash, but that's okay. Murkrow can hold either of the item. And then you have this interesting move called Torment, where you can't use the same move consecutively in the next turn, right? So that's really nice. Maushold, again, a little bit of attack investment, max speed, of course, and then just a little bit of bulk. Population Bomb, Encore, Follow Me, Protect. And again, if you want to know like what all these EVs specifically do, you feel free to read what they had to say, the user. We'll link their Twitter, we'll link the report in the description below. And the Amoonguss, relatively standard. This just hits the bump in the special defense, and then the rest just went into 100 defense, right? And it's a Rocky Helmet set, so that's really nice. That's really good against like, maybe Maushold stuff, and so this way they could potentially just KO themselves. So that's really nice. And Pollen Puff, Spore, Rage Powder, right? But the idea here again is the ScopeLens Hydreigon, and what I want to do is just show you the damage calcs, just to show you how strong Draco Meteor is with the crits, right? So let's go into the damage calculator to take a look. All right, so here we are, and our Hydreigon is ScopeLens, of course, special attack, and we put the crit button because, you know, we're gonna crit every single Draco Meteor because why not? And here's the Dondozo set. Again, no investment right now, and you can see that it just obliterates it, right? And then even if you have the Tatsugiri Omni Boost, right? Let's say you are at +2, okay? That does not matter. You see how the damage calc does not change, and that's expected, right? Because that's what a crit does. So then you have to say, well, what about +2 and light screen? Here's the light screen button. Also does not matter, right? Because again, the whole idea behind a crit is it doesn't matter what your boosts are. It doesn't matter if you have screens, you just crit right through it. All right, now the only way to survive this is to invest in your bulk in order to survive this. So let's see how much bulk they survive. And again, most Dondozos, they don't really have that much bulk. Like, you already have base 150 HP. How much more HP do you need? So some of them do have some bulk. I've seen some, but not all that much. The most I've seen was this 116 investment because their item was leftovers. Okay, cool. So even then, if you had 116 investment HP, you still lose because this Draco Meteor still crits right through. And then how much special defense do I need to try and survive this, right? I would need a little bit, right? So just much. But then again, if I keep going, like, this is still pretty good, like 75% chance. Like, how much special defense does Dondozo need? Let's go to like 103 over here. Let's go to the magic drone number here. Like even this, I would have to do all of this. Let me keep going. Like, look how much investment this is just to survive a Draco Meteor. And then how much is this taken away from like the rest of your stats, right? Like, can I still go max attack here and then, you know, ignore defensive speed stuff? Like, yeah, like, you know, it's so much. And the fact that now Dondozo has to think about this is going to be interesting going forward, right? I think it's going to make for some interesting EV spreads moving forward, because now you have to say, like, okay, is this a meme or is this like something I have to plan for, right? I mean, it just won a tournament, so I don't know how much of a meme that is because Japan has like some of the strongest players in the world. But the idea is, okay, if Draco Meteor, ScopeLens with Protect, of course, and Focus Energy is a thing, then this might influence some of the tournaments moving forward. And it's interesting, right? Because this is all about meta development, right? So what we're going to do now is, now that we know the set, let's test it out. I have a volunteer that was willing to do a practice battle with me. You may have seen him in my other video. His name is CoinFlips. So shout outs to CoinFlips for willingly allowing me to battle him for a quick one. And then we'll give you the rental code so that way you can try out this team itself. So then, yeah, maybe you can do some ScopeLens shenanigans on the ladder. So let's go ahead and see our sample battle here. All right, so here's our sample game, and all right, it's this team, Dondozo with Tatsugiri, and again, he's got the Fire Water Grass core here with Arcanine and Meowscarada and Sylveon. Okay, sure. I think this is on Aaron Zhang's channel too. I believe it's like Choice Band Arcanine, if I recall correctly, and the Tatsugiri is still Scarf. Okay, sure. So here's the idea. He's probably going to be playing for the late game Tatsugiri, Dondozo stuff, and I think he just wants to lead like either the Sylveon. I don't even think like Meowscarada comes in here. I think that's just like for an opposing Dondozo stuff. So I could definitely see Goldango coming out here, but I think Sylveon and then Dondozo Tatsugiri and then +1, right? And I'm not sure which one that might be, but either way, it doesn't change my game plan. I'm still gonna lead a Redirector Mon with the Hydreigon just to try and set up the Focus Energy stuff, and then in the back I'll have like Murkrow and then even like Garchomp stuff. So I think that'll be okay. All right, so here we go. He goes with Arcanine and Sylveon. Okay, so I figured he had to lead the Sylveon just to put on suppression. Now, unfortunately, I do get intimidated and I don't have an amulet, but that's okay. I do have Swords Dance and I have redirection from the Amoonguss. So he can pivot out his Arcanine if he wants to, which is okay, and then he can just cycle his Intimidates, because I don't think Arcanine wants to take a Life Orb Earthquake, even if I'm -1. It's still going to do a lot of damage. And the Sylveon probably can just like pressure the Garchomp right away. But I do have the Amoonguss on the field. I figured he had to, right? But it's okay. I can still, I always have Spore Pressure, right? So that's the idea there. But I still want to safely set up my Swords Dance here just to get rid of this Intimidate. So I'm gonna proceed. I go with Terra Fire so I don't die to like a Sylveon Fairy move. He goes for Flare Blitz, so he removes my Amoonguss, so it is the Choice Band set. So that's a lot of recoil, and there is the Hyper Voice, right? So he removes my Amoonguss right away. A smart play by him, and he but in exchange I get to set up the Swords Dance, and now I have +1 Earthquakes coming in, and there's no real switching for it unless he has a Meowscarada in the back, but like, sure, whatever. So now I'm just gonna bring in Hydreigon, and now here's my thought process here. If I Earthquake right now, the Arcanine will die, 100%. And the Sylveon might live +1. It depends on their spread. I don't remember it. But again, it is a spread move, and I do expect it to live. Then again, I am Life Orb, so I could pick up this KO, but I'm not sure. So what I'm gonna do is to play it safe. In case the Sylveon does live, I'm gonna protect the Hydreigon. So this way, next turn, I can Earthquake and then remove the Sylveon. That's my thought process, right? So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna protect, and I am gonna Earthquake. I'll remove the Arcanine, and I got lucky, and I removed the Sylveon. So I could have just, focused energy there, and then, Coin Flip is just like, bro. But then, like, again, I covered. So now he has Tatsugiri Dondozo, so we know what's coming next. He's gonna get the Omni Boost. But see, here's my thought process. He can only attack one of us now, right? So if I'm gonna play the best of both worlds, I'm going to I'm going to focus energy on Hydreigon in case he goes for the Garchomp. And if he goes for the Garchomp, if he goes for the Hydreigon, I'm just gonna click Earthquake. And he has to take a +1 Earthquake, and it's still gonna hurt. Alright, so that's the idea there. So I'm playing both worlds here. So just in case whatever he decides to do, he can only kill one of us. So he decides, so I go first anyway, alright, and he decides to just remove me with the Wave Crash. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so now that's just a free ScopeLens for me, right? Free focus energy. I keep saying ScopeLens. And notice he did take already some good chip damage because one, he used Wave Crash, and two, Rough Skin hurt him, right? And I already know, and I showed you this calc, he could be max HP, max special defense. Draco Meteor is removing this. He has no answer. So now all I have to do is this. Go into Murkrow, click Tailwind, even though it may not even be necessary. Draco Meteor, goodbye Dondozo. This is just for like the Scarf Tatsugiri sub, and he can't do anything. I know this is Scarf, so I just double in, and we just remove it from play, right? There it is. So, technically, the ScopeLens boost / focus energy didn't matter because the Dondozo was already chipped. But, depending on their spread, he could have lived that. I'm not Life Orb Hydreigon. I am modest, but I am not Life Orb. So, but you got to see the team at least in a sample game. So, it was really nice. Again, I crit his Sylveon, but, I covered for it, right? So, that's how it works. Again, set up the redirection, and then, just bring in Hydreigon or Garchomp, and then just, do Hydreigon Garchomp things, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you the rental so that you too can try out this team and see if you can stomp the ladder with focus, energy, ScopeLens, Hydreigon shenanigans. All right, folks, and there it is. There's the team. And again, Hydreigon with ScopeLens focus energy is actually really, really funny and really, really interesting to use. I don't think it's a meme. I think it's legit. And look at the rest of the team. It's not built to be a meme. It's actually a very, very well-built squad. Life Orb, Garchomp, without Intimidate running around so much, it's still very, very strong. Goldango, you know what Goldango's going to do. You have the 2 redirectors to support your options here. So you can always redirect, get up your Tailwind, redirect, get up a Focus Energy, redirect, set up Swords Dance or Nasty Plot. Either way, you have that pressure. And again, Murkrow able to, just go for Haze to remove other debuffs. Just like, or other buffs, I should say, just like an opposing Dondozo. Really, really nice. But it's a well-built team. Give it a go. Let me know how you do with it. And again, we'll put the credentials of the Liberty Note website and the Liberty Note team reports in the video description, so you can check out some of the other stuff that they had. You just have to remember to right-click and translate the page into English. All right, so that'll be it for now. We'll put out another video later today. Just wanted to bring this set into attention because I thought it was just like super cool, the fact that this happened over the weekend and it got first place. All right, so we'll be back with the next video and the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.